What's going on, guys? Saga Plays here, coming at you with the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. This is somewhat the second time I'm recording this because I didn't realize my mic wasn't recording on the software even though it was on. But today we'll be doing the Dark Dead Vengeance. Last week, pretty much we did the Merry Plunder Patrol and Abyssal Waters solo mode chapter stories. And yeah, I thought that was it. But over the weekend they added Dark Dead Vengeance gate and we'll be doing that today. I don't know if they'll upload anymore, but most likely not. By Wednesday they will, but who knows, because I didn't realize this. They did release a new mate with him. It's pretty much the main character here. I did read a bit of it because I read the gate details prior, but I'll read them again because yeah. The details are: the horror began when the city was shrouded in darkness. The Vendread are wraiths that increase in number as they attack the living. While everyone else was gripped by despair, one man was compelled by vengeance to take a stand against the undead, even after becoming one of them. Alright, let's get into it. And then you'll notice here this scenario, it's completed because I didn't realize it. This will probably take 30 minutes, but let's get into it. You get 150 dark orbs, which will probably be used to unlock the locked portion of it. Dead Vengeance. So it's basically a superhero type of story. Within the concrete jungle of high-rise buildings, the people hustled and bustled among the sleepless city lights. However, that was a long time ago. A darkness that shrouded the sky above turned the world into one that would never see morning come again. And with the darkness came monsters that threatened the peace of the city, the Vendreads. The Vendreads started as corpses that crawled out of their graves, except their bodies had transformed into something grotesque. Without a single shred of their memories from their past life or any will of their own, they would wander the streets at night and attack any living human or animal in their path, guided only by their instinct. So pretty much they're like zombies. No firearm, tank, or any sort of modern weaponry could defeat these creatures. What's worse, anyone and anything that was unfortunate enough to become a victim of a Vendread would become one themselves. The Vendread threat was like a match thrown into a forest, spreading fear like an uncontrollable blaze. As the undead continued to rapidly multiply, those remaining of flesh and blood scrambled fruitlessly for a solution. The Vendread hordes soon made their way to the hastily built wall that served as the sole line of defense for the living. Among them was a young man who had also lost his life to the undead. He was no different from the other Vendreads wandering the same shrouded city with the same mindlessness. But as luck would have it, one day, as the young man continued to drift about mindlessly, he came across a young woman who had been carried off by the Vendreads. His mind had already long faded, or it should have, but as his eye caught the locket that hung from the woman's neck, something stirred within him. Memories of his past life began to flood into his head in a great crashing wave. He knew the woman with the pendant before him. She had once been the love of his life. His mind twisted and turned with a desperate sadness as he realized that his love was no longer of this world. That sadness soon boiled over into seething rage and hatred for the Vendreads that robbed her of her life. As his mind dragged itself out of the bogs of his undead depths, a flame of hatred ignited his heart. The violent burst of emotion tore his body apart with unbearable pain as it began to transform and rebuild itself into something much stronger. When the transformation ended, the man steadied his uneven breath and stood up. He took the locket and hung it around his neck so he could keep the memory of his beloved close by. Then he spoke into the silent night. I swear I will vanquish every last one of these waking corpses if it's the last thing I do. And thus, the new agent of vengeance was born. He was the Vendread who would hunt the other Vendread. Vendread Slayer. This was the beginning of the Lone Revenger's fierce battle. Alright. So, I mean, that's an interesting origin story. Oh, I right-clicked. Let me get back in. Alright. Scenario 2, or Part 2. Even in that day, the living struggled, barely from within the city wall, to keep alive. The Vendread horde that pursued the living pushed against the barrier like crashing waves, and showed no sign of ever stopping. Their numbers seemed to only be going up, too. They continued to groan and wail, deep into the night, day after day. The terror was too much. The citizens were finding it harder and harder to keep sane under these horrific circumstances. But then, a single shadow loomed over the horde. The shadow darted forth and cut down a Vendread with a single swoop, quick as lightning. But he didn't stop there. Any Vendread that dared to stand in his way would be stabbed, hit, kicked, and knocked down. They would have their limbs and rotten flesh torn, twisted, and ripped from their bodies. And once the shadow had finished hunting down every last walking corpse that plagued the city wall, he disappeared back into the darkness as quickly as he appeared, not even sparing a single moment to look back at the crowd that he just saved. But the Vendread Slayer was not interested in being a hero. All he wanted was revenge, and he would not stop at anything to destroy any Vendread that entered his line of sight. But regardless of his intentions, the fact was that he had swooped onto the scene like a bolt from the blue and defeated all the Vendreads. To the survivors, he was their single ray of hope. Word of the mysterious undead hunter began to spread quickly through the city. As the nights continued, he too continued his battles. However, the Vendreads weren't going to stand for being hunted down so mercilessly. With the carnage, the undead began to change. Up until now, the humans and animals that turned into Vendreads had stayed about the same physical size as they had been when they passed. That was one of the main reasons the survivors had been able to keep the horde back with just their average human strength. But now that the Vendreads were being pursued by a relentless executor in the form of Vendread Slayer, they began to feel threatened. Some of them even began to merge with each other to create a bigger Vendread. Few words could describe how grotesque it looked, and people began to name it after a certain multi-headed beast of legend. They called it the Vendread Chimera. The creature would threaten the safety of the people beyond the wall for many more nights. It possessed the powers and strengths of numerous Vendreads, and even the Slayer was beginning to have trouble fighting it. Every time they battled, the Slayer would only manage to fight it off. He was never successful in completely silencing it. However, the more they fought, the more weaknesses were uncovered. The Slayer found that within the Chimera there lay a core that governed all its actions. The Slayer charged at the core and threw all his strength into it, destroying it. And finally, the Chimera crumbled into a pile of rotting flesh and bones. At first, it seemed that the Slayer's do-or-die attack had ended things once and for all, with the agglomeration of animosity that was the Chimera. But the tragedy would only further unfold from here. The clash of the undead would only escalate further and further into something beyond human comprehension. All the survivors could do was pray that one day the Vendread would be vanquished and dawn would break once more over their city. Alright, this is a really good story, especially since, I'm assuming that this released on October 1st, because Halloween. Why not have a dark, gritty solo mode chapter to go with the month of year? Alright, let me check this loner deck out. Card Destruction, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial. Alright, Ritual Monster, Vendread Slayer. Okay. Unit Zombie, so 1. Okay, anything extra? Yeah, no extra deck. So this is a ritual deck base. This is ritual deck. Alright, Vendread Origin. Okay, and then that's the field spell. Let's get into it. But yeah, I really like how they decide to do it theme based a bit for this month. Give us and its hero, the skyscraper field. Yep, and this is alright. What makes a Vendread deck unique? It's a deck based around ritual monsters. If you choose a non-ritual Vendread monster on your field to tribute for a ritual summon, the ritual summon monster can gain additional effects, consume the powers of the dead, and the Vendread will grow even stronger. Alright. And this is a Vendread Slayer mate that was released with same time as this solo mode gate. So let us get into it. Alright. Ritual Summon Slayer. I'll just be calling them by their second abbreviation because they're pretty much Vendread monsters and then Vendread, or I just call it Slayer. So summon you. Alright, activate Origin. We're playing out a superhero origin story here, guys. This is really interesting. Level 6, okay. Yeah, skip that part. Alright, ritual summon successful. Due to having Vendread Hound Horde that was on the field, Slayer had gained an effect to banish a spell and trap card on the opponent's field. Okay. Yeah, and if this was physical, this was a physical, it'd be a lot, and you had multiples out. It would somewhat be confusing on keeping track of what card is influencing what with these, because they go to the grave instead of it being somewhat like an Xyz monster where they become overlay units. They go to the grave, and you just gotta remember that this monster is influenced with these two, and so on. Alright, activate this. Okay, Revenants. Banishing it, boost its attack. Okay. And then monster gain. Okay, if you are in a situation where you can activate its effect, actively engage in battle with your opponent's monsters. Okay. Boom. Alright. Victory. Alright. A hero emerges. Yeah. So pretty much, I'm just gonna do never mind. You know what? I'll think about it during this duel. I don't know whether or not to do my deck as well, because that's what I've done in the past. Because my Blue Eyes deck can go quick with this if I get all the right cards. But I don't know. I'll think about it in this duel here. But I hope everyone's having a great Monday. For all the Magic players, for all Magic players, Unifinity is coming out this week, so I can't wait for that. Boo. Cried. Well, at least I didn't decide to ritual summon yet. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, tribute it. If you do, special summon one Vendread token with level equal to the tributed monster. I won't do that until it attacks. Oh, nope, wait. Actually, that's fine. Vendread Chimera. Gate Call the Haunted. Battle. Take the damage here. And trigger you. Oop. Level 5. Chimera's level 5? Huh. Alright. Okay, if another zombie is special summoned from the grave while you control this card, except during the jam strip, draw and then discard. Okay. I'll activate you, special summon, make use of you, and I'll do you. Slayer, then summon you, activate you. I get this guy back. Alright, yes. Draw, discard you. Vendread Knights. Special summon all link monsters. Battle. Attack there. Dang. I can't attack. Crud. Special summon. If you attribute a monster for tribute summon, you can tribute this on the monster your opponent controls, even though you don't control it. So one monster in the grave special summon to your opponent's field and defense. I'll just do this. Vampire Sucker. If a monster... Okay. I'll end the turn there. But man... Okay. That's fine. Alright. When a Vendread monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle... Okay. He should be able to attack again. Yep. These two just take each other out, getting banished, and he can attack there. Why? Banish one monster. If this ritual summon card is sent to the grave. Okay. End the turn there. Right. Boost its attack by banishing a zombie. Alright. This thing again. Yay. Okay, add one ritual from your deck to your hand. One ritual monster from your deck. Okay, trigger you. Ritual card. And ritual monster. Activate this. I can use monsters in the grave, which I gladly will do. Okay, second Slayer. Sure. Yeah, okay. Battle. Attack. That's fine. Attack. That should be what? Yeah, that's his third Revenants. End the turn. Alright. We're already up to 20 minutes. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be over 30. Alright. Okay. What is this? You can only use the effect when a Vendread monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle. Banish one Vendread. It can attack an opponent's monster again in a row. Okay. Trigger you. Discard you. Let me see. Sure. Revenant. Battle. Attack with 800. And then these two should end this. Alright. And that is it. And then I'll use Blue Eyes to make quick work of the other part. And then continue on with our story. Okay. Sombre Dark. Okay, cleared. And you will be complete. Alright. But yeah, this deck seems interesting. It's sort of like Hero, but not. Because Hero, pretty much you could special summon monsters a whole lot faster and everything. Okay. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave. Okay. Monster reborn there. Summon you. Sure. Defense. Activate you. Boom and boom. And then just gonna synchro summon Tyrant here. Sure. And then get me Blue Eyes. Alright, and then just gonna use this. I know it will destroy Blue Eyes, but better than having that get triggered. Battle, but when I use the effect, it can only attack with this. Alright. Yeah. And then okay. Yeah, special summon with 2000 or less. Okay. Trigger Q again. Battle and attack. Alright. This will be over in one more turn. Okay. Activate. Destroyed. Battle. And we're done. Alright. Victory is mine. That duel is complete. 2 more scenarios and 2 more duels. So we should be able to get this under, hopefully, 50 minutes. I don't know, but we'll see. After a long and bitter struggle, Vendread Slayer would finally destroy the Vendread Chimera threat. No one could predict that this defeat would only bring more dreadful threats. One day, the Slayer felt a menacing presence like never before, overflowing with an unabating grudge. He immediately headed toward it, determined to find the source. He saw that the wall had been broken through, even though it had held up against the Chimera threat. The wall and the scavenged armored vehicles that were taking the brunt of the attacks were destroyed, and countless people were found slain. The Vendread horde was had a different leader now. It was much larger than the Chimera had been, and was clad in heavy armor. Enveloping it was a thick and ominous aura of resentment. Literally looks like a giant cyclops with 2 horns. It was Vendread Battlelord, and it had been born from the grudges of all the Vendreads that the Slayer had defeated. Their collective hunger for vengeance against the Slayer had combined into a frightening force, and whenever the Battlelord went and wherever the Battle Lord went, it would leave a trail of death and destruction behind. It was one lone fighter's wish to eradicate the Vendread against the Horde's desire to crush the Executor. Their rage came to a head, and thus another clash to the death began. The Battle Lord's might was far more tremendous than the Slayer could have ever imagined. Not only could it absorb the surrounding Vendread, but also those who had lost their lives at the scene. The Battle Lord had a steady supply of fodder, and it only grew more powerful as time went on. No matter how strong the Slayer's desire for revenge was, the blade stood no change against his foe. He pushed and tried everything he could to gain the upper hand, but in the end, he was overwhelmed by the Battle Lord's immense strength. Alright, so Battle Lord's basically the boss fight, or the second boss fight. Because, I mean, yeah, you could consider Chimera mid-boss or first boss, and then Battle Lord's main boss or second boss. Vendread Slayer lay limp on the ground, wounded and battered, like he was a ragdoll that had been flung aside. Vendread Battle Lord picked up the small hunter in its enormous hand. Then, just as it had done to the other Vendreads and the fallen victims, it reached out its other hand toward the Slayer's chest to absorb its power. The Slayer's consciousness was sinking into nothingness fast, but then the faint glint of his locket caught his eye. That tiny gleam was enough to remind him that his mission was not yet over. With his conviction renewed, the flame in his heart lit up once more. No wound on his body could stop him now. The Slayer mustered all the strength he had left, and right before the Battle Lord could absorb his powers, he plunged his hand into Vendread's chest and ripped out its core. Holding the core, the Slayer began to feel a new surge of energy. His body was absorbing the hateful power that the Battle Lord had possessed. The tides were turning, with the Battle Lord's powers flowing into the Slayer now. Its body started to crumble. However, just as the Slayer began to think the fight was finally over, the core struggling for survival brushed against the Slayer's pendant with a stray hand. The Battle Lord's remains, along with Vendreads that surrounded him, began to transform. They all began to take on the form of the woman that the Slayer cherished in his previous life. With a single touch of the locket, the core had sensed the remaining dregs of the Slayer's love and sought to destroy his morale with it. The Slayer froze. Was this a dream? No, this was no dream. He shook his head, trying to remind himself that the love of his life was already gone. This was a nightmare that was trying to ensnare him. He balled his fist in anger. How dare these scum disgrace the memory of his beloved? As his burning rage surged and finally exploded, he found himself transforming into a new form. With stronger powers, he had become the Vendread Executor. So, pretty much, the Vendread were calling him an Executor before he became Executor, because prior he just went by Vendread Slayer, because he slayed Vendread. Or Vendread, because revenge on the Vendread slaying, and he slayed him, so Vendread Slayer, and now he's the Executor of the Vendread. He executes the Vendread. Okay. So terraforming Vendread Horde and core. Okay. Activate. Sure. This card. Discard you. I'm gonna keep Terraform just in case. Sure, Revenants. If this card is in your grave, you can banish one other zombie monster from your grave, special summon this card. A Vendread ritual monster using this card on the field. Wait. Gains the following effects. Your opponent cannot target this card. Okay, wait. Okay. You can special this card. Ritual using this card on the field. Prevent using this card on the field. Okay. Trigger you. Locket. And Slayer. So is what? Executioner here? Or do we not get Executioner? Yeah, we don't get Executioner. Huh. That sucks. You and you. Oh, does this have to be on the field in order to trigger? No. Oops. If this card is in your grave, discard one Vendread card special summon, but banish it when it leaves. I'll just set that. Battle. Attack. Wait, which one would it be? Target one special summon monster your opponent controls. Banish it. No, not this. No, I don't need to trigger. End the turn. All right. You again. I'll discard Terraform. Getting. Sure. Trigger you. Let me get a second Slayer. Man, so looks like we can't get Executioner, or that may be in the locked gate portion. One's you, and you. Okay, Slayer number 2. Battle. Nah, I'm not gonna increase. Anima. Okay. Attack. End the turn. Okay. Ooh. Influence is just that. Does this one no longer have any influence? Yeah, I don't think so. Send one face-up zombie from your hand or face-up field to the grave. Special summon one Vendread. I'll save that for later. Exceeds by sending one burning abyss monster from. If you're okay. Okay, let me see. What does this do? You can banish one other zombie from the grave, special on this card, but banish it when it leaves. Okay. Attack. It's fine. Direct attack. This can't be the target of effects, so just leave it at that. Alright. Okay. 2 Revenants. I don't know what. Okay. Okay. Link. Oh, wait. Link for absolute 0. Okay. Finish one. This gains. Vendread Origin. Yeah. Okay. Vendread Charge. Okay. Activate this. Okay, now I could get Slayer. Huh. But I need a... Okay, once per turn, detach one, target one card your opponent controls, send it to the grave once per turn. Wait, any ritual spell, this card becomes Slayer when on the field, when this... Okay. Just gonna do this. Alright, so I need a... This. Activate you. Send one material to the grave. Send you to the grave. Battle. Attack. Wait. I can quick effect. Send to the grave. Sure, you. Get Revenant, and this can attack. And that'll do it. Alright. He'd even bring out the boss monster, Battle Lord. Okay. Yeah. Got the... Okay, and my deck. Alright. We'd even get to play Executioner. Or Executor. Even though I was able to draw him. But, it's whatevs. I'm just going to set that face down and end the turn there. Okay. Vendread Knight. Activating. Gets Battle Lord. Vendread Origin. Vendread. Okay. Those into Battle Lord. Okay. Banish one Vendread, declare one type. For the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards. Okay. Yes. Special summon you. And with you, I can negate you. Okay. All your effects are negated. Special summon you. Activate. Destroying you. Gets Chimera. What are you doing? Okay. Activate you. Get you down and get you down. Okay. So, first special summon using these two to get you. And special summon Draglubion using these two. Then just going to use Draglubion to get Hope Harbinger just in case to negate any spells. Yeah. Attack. And end the turn there. Alright. Yep. Just get rid of your field spell. Cost is discarding, and I gain an overlay unit. Okay. Draw. Trigger you. Sure. Summon you. Activate you. Getting rid of you. For me to get blue eyes. Okay. Battle. Okay. Maybe I should have attacked with you first. Because then I could attack twice and then crud. It's fine. It's fine. Just one more turn and we're done here. Yeah. Should attack with Twin Burst first in case it's Revenant. Because that can bring itself back. Okay. Fusion Conscription. Just do whatever it kind of takes in order to get that to trigger. Okay. Battle. Attack with you. Or is it just like a fake out? Special summon from any number of banished. Revenant. Okay. Okay. Chimera. Continue the attack. Okay. And then Hope Harbinger ends it. And we're done. Alright. Yeah. Slowed me down a bit, but meh. That's fine. We still got the win completion in the end. And to the goal. Fueled only by his scorched hatred, Executor swooped through the horde and cut down the false figures of his beloved one after another. He had been fighting his foe for days. That could no longer be counted all alone, and after absorbing Vendread Battlelord, his grudge only grew bigger with his Vendread powers. It was barely being kept in balance with his human heart. His mind and body had long been pushed past their limits. Was already a miracle that he was able to exist with both life and death in one vessel. It didn't matter anymore if what remained of his humanity faded or if his body fell apart. Nothing could stop him now. All he had on his mind was to fight, and fight, and fight. He threw everything he had into this single desire. Then, at long last, the Vendread horde moved no more. The battle had finally come to a close. The rays of the sun broke through the dark veil of the sky, illuminating the slayer. Just how long had this war waged on for? The city survivors squinted, unaccustomed to the bright light. But oh, what a joyous sight it was. No one ever thought they would see the end of those eternal nights, and here the sun was in all its glory. The slayer could feel his body fading with the light. He bent over to pick up the locket that had been taken from around his neck. All the Vendreads had been defeated, and the darkness that engulfed the city was gone. But at the end of the day, he too was a Vendread, and now it was his time to go. Aw. Now that the undead threat had passed, with the endless nights, the survivors were able to return to their peaceful lives. However, the grief of losing so many lives left an unmendable hole in their hearts. A lot of the survivors had developed a fear of the night and would be plagued by nightmares of the horrors they had faced. Unbeknownst to them, a single shadow watched over them from atop the glowing skyscrapers. Just like he had saved the city, the survivors had saved him. Although the Slayer had set out for revenge, he had still saved countless lives, and they all celebrated him as their hero. They were able to hold on to hope because of this lone fighter, and as the Slayer was slipping into the darkness on that fateful day, the survivors' kind hearts had pulled him back. Thus, he was able to remain in the mortal world without disappearing like the other Vendreads. If the world ever fell to darkness again, if monsters threatened the lives of the people again, he would surely swing his blade for them once more, but this time without the resentment he once harbored in his heart. If that time ever came, he would fight not for vengeance, but for peace, and to give the people courage and hope when they needed it. Okay, now that's an ending. That's a proper ending. Nice ending. Not he fades with the light. Alright. Well, now. But that was the Vendread story. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope they release another Halloween themed one. It's nice. It's awesome because zombie themed. But this is Saga Plays signing out. Bye.